name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. We are at episode 29, almost 30.
I have more exciting things than that.
You do have more exciting things than that, so you go right ahead. Take it away, Megan.
If you are listening to the podcast,
I have more exciting
you're going to have to look at my social media. I'll put it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those good places. But I got a new shirt made for the podcast.
Yes.
I wanted a podcast shirt, and it started that way. But then I was like, you know what? If I just have the podcast logo, because I wanted it to be stickers too. I was like, just giving out a square sticker of the podcast logo isn't fun. So then I was like, well, we should put something cute in it. And what's the cutest thing in the world? Well, that's my baby girl, Meanie. So my sweet baby girl, Meanie, she's a gorgeous little tabby cat. So I had a cartoon person do her. And then there's like the little podcast over here. But it was supposed to be mostly the podcast with a cat, but I like my cat so much. Now I have a page by page podcast shirt with my cat and a little tiny logo.
I would like it to be made clear that we do have 3 cats. It's not just the one, because you were saying my cat. We have 3.
I know we have 3, but Meanie is the one. Meanie is the one that made the shirt, and we have stickers of her too.
We do.
Like anyone who orders the signed books from my website or anything, they come with.
I forgot that we had those.
Oh no, you sent someone.
So I think his name's Christopher Wright. Actually,
if you're listening, let us know, and we'll send you a sticker.
Because I totally forgot.
Yeah, but if you order the signed paperbacks, then I have my little Meanie stickers. So the page by page shirts are my cat Meanie, because that's how I roll. But I really needed you all to know that there is now a sticker and a shirt of my cat Meanie.
Well, cheers to the page by page shirts, and then we'll talk about the beer.
To Meanie.
So this beer, not my favorite. It's good. And see, okay, so this is a hot take, but if any of you know the brewery Chimay, these are supposed to be some of the best Belgians. I am just not the biggest fan. It's good. Like, it's not bad. Blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even meh or bland.
It kind
of
feels like someone thought about beer across the room and then was like, aha, that's what we should have.
Well, and I wonder if this particular one has anything to do with the fact that it's can conditioned. Not that should mean anything, but
what does
I don't
canned
know.
Conditioned mean?
That means that part of the process, it's aged in the can. Yeah. Which happens. I don't think I'm lying about that. If you know me to be completely factually incorrect, please call me out, because that is not what I'm in the business of. Serve at between 42 degrees and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. So maybe that's part of the problem. It's not quite that. No, it's not quite. No, that's about. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Chimay. I'm calling your bluff. It's just not the best beer.
It's not. It's not, but it's doable.
This is 500. Okay. 500 from Chimay.
But here's the thing. I have an adorable shirt of Meanie.
You do.
So the fact that the beer is a little
meh, like no bleh,
like La Croix is to lemonade, it is, it's fine. It's fine.
You said La Croix. Justin's gonna come after us now. It's like it's LaCroix, because that's how they say it in Minnesota where it's made. He told me this.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that's how they say it. Yeah. Wow. I say La Croix because I'm a douchebag.
You are.
Yeah, it's true. And I fully accept this. It is my place, just as it is Ella's place, to be a Sybil and bear witness. Oh, look at that segue. Why don't you tell us about what happened?
Are we calling that a segue?
No, a segue is something you stand up on and go, wee!
These are so much fun.
They're so much fun, y'all. There is a place, it's Lake Louisa State Park, I think is what it is. It's just to the west of Orlando. And we went on a segue through the woods with your mom. And it was
a guided tour. We were allowed to do it.
It was great. Remember the orb weavers that we saw? Those spiders?
They
were huge.
Yeah. And we just went
so cool
on our little nature
nature
trail.
segue, which is so weird. Like, and we are, those of you who don't know us, we hike. Like, we hike. We do miles upon miles upon miles of hiking.
Yeah, but I'd never seen like a nature segue.
No, it was just so cool. I just don't want people being like, oh my God, you guys segued through nature. It's like, no, we've done. I have a shirt that says 100 miles the hard way. We both do, because we hiked 100 miles in a single summer in Denali. So we hike, but this was just too cool to pass up. It was so neat.
Oh, now that we're talking about nature
national parks and stuff. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and take that?
I was going to talk about this after the chapter, but
you're gonna spoil things.
No, it doesn't actually matter.
Spoil.
You're in a mood.
I'm in a mood.
You are.
Maybe this beer's better than I thought. I'm gonna keep going. Go ahead. You talk for a while.
I didn't realize I was going through the chapter and I was trying to just like pinpoint where some different things
Is yours
were.
better?
And you're such a jerk. And I realized that the word preserve versus like public use area and all of these different terms are jumbled up in my head from what I'm used to from living near national parks. And I looked into it because I was like, why does this not line up with the Adirondacks in my brain? And I had forgotten from my youth living in the foothills of the Adirondacks that
long time ago.
The Adirondacks are actually designated a forever wild. So it's actually in the state constitution of New York that there is a massive preserve. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is a preserve. And then there are use areas within it, which is why my brain was like completely non-functional on figuring out why. I was like, wait, the name of because it's different in different parts of New York. Okay, so I'm on my phone right now trying to pull up the thing. There we go. Okay, so this is the part of the Constitution of New York that made the Forever Wild.
New York is so cool.
The lands of the state now owned or hereafter acquired, constituting the forest preserve as now fixed by law, shall be forever kept as wild forest lands. They shall not be leased, sold, or exchanged, or be taken by any corporation, public or private, nor shall the timber thereon be sold, removed, or destroyed. So that's the thing, is like, it's article something in the Constitution, whatever. Yeah. But I grew up in that, like just away from it. That was like my state parks. That was the lakes. That was my nature. And I did not realize how unique it is.
No, that's cool.
And
I don't think we had anything like that in Tennessee. They might, some of the lakes, but I don't know.
It's just so cool that I didn't know.
That is cool.
That was like why the Adirondacks feel so magical to me. And then I placed this magical book there. But also I think
the Adirondacks, yeah.
I think it's really cool to know that it is actually a designated forever wild since this series is set there. And I'm going to share the links to the articles about it and everything on Substack and do a blog about it and stuff.
This is neither here nor there, but I'm just thinking about, because you've lived in New York. I kind of have too, right? But we've both lived in Pennsylvania where you have the Poconos. Do the Poconos go into the Adirondacks, or are they two different ranges? Do you know?
Honestly, my geography is shit.
Fair. Mine too, especially when we're in foreign countries, right, babe?
The only times I've actively considered causing my husband's murder.
Thank you. I was going to say, don't lessen it to physical harm, because you wanted me dead.
I actively wanted to shove him in front of a bus. If a bus had been available, he wouldn't be alive right now. In Florence, both times in Florence, 2 different trips.
Florence.
The only place I've wanted you dead. Both times. Florence is dangerous for us.
But it's so beautiful.
I know. The problem is we both love Florence.
We love Florence.
But it's so hazardous for you.
Wait, hold on. Did we talk about the second time?
The intrusive thoughts say you deserve to be in front of that bus.
Remember the second time when I caused
never
us to miss the train? It's, you know what? It is what it is. Welcome to the Megan and Chris's travels and weird marital stuff. I don't know. Our life. What? We've been married since Jesus was a baby.
Continue.
Okay. So we were in Florence. This was our second trip. So the first trip was the one where she wanted to push me in front of a bus, because I do not typically do this. Like, I am not that stereotypical guy.
Okay, you're prattling. He wouldn't ask for fucking directions, and I had a suitcase, and it was 25 minutes later, and we'd been circling a block. Okay, the second story, he's going to take too long. We were running late for a train. He went to go do something. I told him he didn't have time. Lo and behold, he didn't have time. We missed the train. It was the only train. I wanted him in front of another bus. I would have settled for a train.
At least it was a bus and not a train.
But we found a rental car, and I was like, mwahaha. The only thing they had was a standard. A standard. And I was like, he hasn't driven one in over a decade. I'm going to make a video humiliating him as he tries this out.
So I'm sitting there in a cafe while we're waiting for the car to be ready, looking at YouTube videos of how to drive stick. Because I had learned, but as Megan said, it was like a decade before. So I was like, oh my gosh, all right, I have to look at this again. So go ahead.
And then I was so fucking excited for the sweet vengeance of a fucking hilarious video. And he turns it on. He goes, oh, I'm nervous. And then he drives perfectly until we get to a switchback that I'm pretty sure cars should not. I'm pretty sure
it was
like
steep.
American cars would not be asked to go up that. Not even in Alaska have I seen a road like that.
No, I haven't.
And then he had like a momentary issue, so it was the most disappointing, but it worked out fine. We got to our hotel.
Great.
Everything was fine. I didn't kill you,
And we went to Montepulciano, and we
it.
stayed in the same hotel that Bella and Edward stayed in when they did that scene from the third movie.
I don't know, the one where it's like the shiny.
Yeah.
The shiny
running. Yeah.
The sparkle.
I'm gonna go out and out myself as a vampire to the whole world so that. Or anyway, it doesn't matter. I hate that book series so much. Okay,
Christopher,
it's bad.
It did something for the genre.
Sure, cheapened vampires. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay. Vampires are way more badass than they are in that book series.
We're going to leave this hot take alone and go onward.
We get angry comments. How dare you say something against Twilight? Well, that's my opinion. All right.
Because he's shiny.
Yeah, sorry. I can't. Although I will say that every time we watch the first movie again, for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, this is better than I remember it being. Mostly because of Charlie. Okay. So now let's get to the. Book. We haven't done the last
makes
time.
Everything worth it.
Charlie is awesome. That actor's just fan-freaking-tastic, too. Yeah. All right. So why don't you give us a last time on? Do you remember what happened last time?
Yes.
It was near sexy time.
I know. Not. It was.
Because you cock-blocked them.
Do. All right. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
Are you ready for it? Beep. Just drink my beer. I was being Taylor Swift.
Okay, so previously on the Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Ella Day has come home from the crossing where she finally got to hang out with some werewolf peeps and feel a little bit more comfortable with her life. She gets home and freaks out to realize that she's still by herself and is probably going to have a bunch of nightmares. It's like, oh no, what am I going to do? I'm going to be all by myself. Ah! And then, of course, Jason wants to talk to her, and Paige wants to talk to her, and Evan wants to talk to her, and Violet wants to talk to her, and really she only wants to talk to Caleb, but then Caleb's out the window. And so he comes inside. And they have a moment. But no, it cannot happen because she needs him. So that would be him using her, which goes against his morality as he tries to be not a stereotypical fae. And she'd be using comfort for him, which she's like, oh, I could see how that could be wrong. So I probably shouldn't do that. So they sleep chastely together. And then it's Wednesday morning. Did I do it? Was that a good job?
You did, but I think you left out the part that they get the text message about how it's the reminder, funeral day.
Oh, yes, because Wednesday morning it is finally
time to bury the algebra teacher.
How many pages into this book are we?
I can't even. Okay, let's see. Hold on. So that's page 1, and give me 1 second. I can figure this out. No, I can figure this out. I also want to tell you while I'm pulling this up that I've got issues. Well, we all know this, but so we're at page 441 in the manuscript.
Okay, so he had his heart attack, his heart incident.
Yes. On page 10 or something, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. And we're finally getting this motherfucker in the ground. This is like my great grandmother. It took forever to get them in.
They had to figure out the equations of how deep to dig the hole.
Wait, for Mr. Carver?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about my great grandmother.
He's an algebra 2 teacher.
No, for my great grandmother, they just kept flying her all over the country to have different funerals.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right.
So I want to let you know before we move onward that when the second you mentioned Evan's name, my eyes rolled in my head and I'm like, oh my God, I have issues with Evan. Like I really do.
Evan's not a bad guy.
I know. And the thing is that I understand that, but I still just roll my eyes at that guy because I see you, buddy. I see you. It drives me a little crazy.
You know what? He's just trying really hard to be...
He's trying too hard.
The great guy. But at least he's trying to be the great guy, not the douche guy. So you know what?
Why don't you come inside and I'll play guitar at you?
No, I had to meet you in the lobby for you to play piano at me.
Did I call you down there necessarily the first time you caught me playing piano? Did I?
You didn't have an audience.
I did at one point.
So you called Ashley and I to come sit down there for you.
Ashley and me. Me as a predicate nominative.
So that you would have a crowd. You were using us as wingmen after you had your hand up her shirt.
Oh, we're talking about this on this podcast.
Okay, that's a story for another time. Okay.
I can't believe you just outed me like that. That's
you know
hilarious.
What we should have?
What?
We should keep a list.
Shots?
And have, that's a good idea.
No, it's not a good idea.
No, we should for this idea.
As Jim Gaffigan said, you're only having shots because it's your birthday or you wish you were never born.
No, this is going to be better than the Hot Ones episode. God. We're never going to get to the chapter. No, okay. So what we do is things like the hand up Ashley shirt story.
Oh my God.
We make a list of all the ones that we've never quite gotten through.
That's going to require us to like listen to the entire, all of these though again.
We can start keeping track from now. We have a special episode with shots and stories. We have a shots and stories episode.
No, I would rather not get alcohol poisoning. Thank you.
We can have like wine shots.
Limit ourselves?
Yeah, we can have like babies.
We can limit ourselves. That's fine. I'm not taking wine shots. Gross.
Okay, we'll do like babies.
Okay, we'll do babies. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. If we're going to do that though, you know what I want to do? Here's my suggestion is that I go and I buy little miniatures of stuff that like the really top shelf stuff.
Ooh, so we can try things?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love this. This is going to be...
The stuff, the bottles we would never buy 750 milliliters of because no.
This is going to... I feel like this is going to be more fun than Hot Ones. I feel like this is a much...
Of course it's going to be more fun than Hot Ones.
idea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That said, I have had some of those sauces since then and they're really good. Not the ridiculous ones. I got rid of those, but like the last 3 gone. But the other ones, they're good. They're really good. All right. I didn't realize I was a hot sauce guy, but I had one with scorpion pepper the other night. So good. Okay. So let us, speaking of scorpions, there's no scorpions in the world.
Wait, speaking of scorpions, sometimes you get that unexpected sting.
The fuck are you talking about?
I don't know, because sometimes there are unexpected stingers at the ends of steens. I don't know. I was trying to help.
I love you. Oh, there's a bit of something at the end of this chapter that makes me go, hold the hell on. All right. Okay. So are we ready? Are you ready? I think I
don't even know anymore. What are we doing?
For those of you still with us, thank you. We appreciate you. We see you. We don't see you because that would be weird. Yeah. All right. I am ready. Are you ready? Actually, no. Who knows? Okay, who's to say? I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell, Chapter 28. The sea of black made the few colorful coats look garish and tactless as the students lined up for the walk to Mr. Carver's funeral. Principal Harrison had separated us into travel groups using the class lists for the period when Carver had collapsed, leaving me to walk with my fellow Algebra 2 Trauma Club members, including Jason, Paige, Violet, Sydney, Andre, and Caleb. If I could have just walked hand in hand with Caleb, like a normal girl who can't stop thinking about a boy's abs. No, not even all his abs, mostly just the little V by his hips. My problem would have been trying not to feel guilty for enjoying a sunlit stroll to a funeral service. Sans Caleb contact, I distracted myself with pondering if the scarcity of non-black outerwear was A, a mark of deep respect for Mr. Carver, B, confirmation that most students owned more than one type of outerwear matching Lauraldale's upper middle class vibe, C, an indication of a local fashion trend I had yet to notice, D, normal for a fucking funeral and I was overthinking to distract myself from the tension radiating at me as I walked flanked by Violet and Paige playing Ella in the fucking middle. Do you know how early they started setting up the park this morning? Paige looked over her shoulder, speaking to Jason, who walked behind me like a bodyguard. I caught a glimpse on the way to school. It looked like they must have been working since dawn. Something woke me up at like 5:15, Jason said. It could have been crews arriving. I didn't bother looking. The tension on Violet's side of the Ella sandwich surged. Shitfuckers. I turned to walk backward and wrinkled my nose at Jason. Is that a lack of fear of serial killers, or are you too used to early morning sounds from the Argo? The latter. Sydney sidestepped to join our walking group. Sleepovers at the Argo mean getting woken up by delivery trucks at 5 a.m. Ew, I winced. You just have to roll over and go back to sleep, Jason said. It's not that bad. Yes, it is, Paige said. Just because you've learned to sleep through dishes clacking together doesn't mean the rest of us aren't going to get scared the hell awake by an entire rack of glasses smashing. That happened once. Jason's cheeks pinked as he tried to hide his smile. And the fact that you abused my immunity to kitchen noise with a photo shoot was completely unnecessary. Oh, really? Paige laughed. Andre, gang up on Jason with us. Sydney waved Andre into our group. At least we didn't shove your finger up your nose, Paige said. That was in 6th grade, Jason said. I didn't know there was a time limit on vengeance, Sydney said. The heel of my boot landed on a rock, tipping my ankle, testing my balance. I didn't even wobble. Go fucking me. Why are we ganging up on Jason? Andre synced his steps with Sydney's. He's trying to pretend he hasn't pranked all of us with dumb pictures of us sleeping, Paige said. I thought you were going to say he's repressing the purpose of our excursion. Violet's blunt tone held a relatively low anger level considering the company. Yes, to the pictures and the repression, Andre said. Was that necessary, Violet? Paige said. I turned to walk facing Ford again. Since it sounded like you were drifting toward a fucked up orgy story, yes, Violet said. Violet! I swatted her arm, gently enough to not register as a threat, as Sydney laughed and Paige squeaked, What? I don't want that kind of shit stuck in my head while we're honoring Mr. Carver, Violet said. I'm here to grant your wishes, Sydney said. No naked fun, just camping and pre-hike sleepovers. We have a great time. Paige looked to me, too bright excitement in her eyes. Ella, you should come with us for a group hike this weekend. Hiking with a few friends? If my current post-mindfuck healing trajectory held, and the slow grinding shut of the gate in my head continued apace, with the right precautions and no physical contact, a small group gathering in a calm environment might be possible in a few more days. If I could manage that, babysitter-free school wouldn't be far behind, making babysitter-free sleeping just around the corner, which would remove Caleb from my necessary to function category, leaving him in only my I want to know how it would feel for your thumbs to graze the sides of my breasts category, eliminating the weakness at the center of his fey moral dilemma and freeing me to find out if my mind had exaggerated the delicious heat when he kissed my neck. Scared her. My mind left Caleb land in time to catch the unhelpful end of Sydney's sentence. She already said she wanted to. Well, we don't have to do a huge hike. Paige's hand twitched like she'd started to reach for me and remembered the Ella bubble at the last second. Just something fun. Focus, Ella. It's time to human Ella. Sounds great. I smiled for Paige. Perfect, Sydney said. Jason, where do you think we should go? I turned, walking backward to face him again, finding something bordering on anxiety in his slightly too wide eyes. Shit. I'm fine if we skip hiking and stay around town, I said. I've really only been to the parts of Laureldale Paige has shown me. I haven't even been on the path along the river yet. The river path is cute, Sydney said. If you don't like hiking, Paige said, you know you can tell us. No, hiking is great, I said. A low laugh rumbled from Violet. I meant to shoot a glare her way, but my gaze caught on Jason, and my heart fucking broke. He looked like a mini mirror of how I'd felt so many times. A weak link balancing shame and gratitude as others compensate for your I did pretty well. Was that the bottom of page 4? Yeah.
High five.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Hey, why don't you talk about that low laugh rumble from Violet while I do this? I wrote, why is she laughing?
Because she's listening to Ella get pulled into all this fucking human drama.
Which is something that she avoids, right?
Well, I mean, she has like her couple of friends that she's carefully selected for the lack of this shit.
Right.
And they're like, if you're okay in the woods, Ella. Violet's like, okay, when these are your friends.
Ella's
Ella.
actually the most badass out of all of them. Yeah.
Wait, of the human friends?
Of the human friends, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, because she's not human.
No, she's not.
Yeah. He looked like a mini mirror of how I'd felt so many times. A weak link balancing shame and gratitude as others compensate for your failings. Fix it. Help him. Find him an out. Do we want to aim for Saturday afternoon? Jason said. We could head up to the trails around Diamond Lake. Oh, that's perfect, Sydney said. It's on the calendar. Mine too. Paige said. Sounds great. I turned to walk facing front again. He's not spiraling? I'm spiraling? No, I'm floundering. Projecting? Pace steady, breathing counted, anxiety shooed away. We made the first of the 2 turns we'd have to take on our funeral field trip. Harrison had chosen a tree-lined, wide sidewalked residential street for his students to invade. Ooh, wait! Paige clapped her hands. Jason, did you tell Ella about... She looked over her shoulder, raising her eyebrows at him. Were you aiming for subtlety? Violet said. Jason! Paige turned to walk backward the way I had. Did you tell her? So you're aiming for ominous, Violet said. Well, I want to know what she thinks. Paige's eyes stayed locked on Jason. You two scoot out of the pack to discuss details, and we can celebrate when we inevitably ditch school after the funeral, because what the hell is the point in studying when a tree can smash through the window and kill you at any moment? Oh, Paige, you reflect my soul. I grabbed Paige.
Sorry,
I was continuing.
I know, but I needed to say something.
I grabbed Paige's arm, yanking her closer to me, saving her from backing into a tree and turning her around to face front. I kind of have to agree with Violet on the ominous thing. Not even a little, Paige said. But now that I've remembered you don't know, I'm going to explode. It's just so good. Jason, can you tell her, please? She said she held out the E in an un-Paige-ish way, earning an extra hard glare from the elderly woman sitting on a wide front porch, who highlighted her loathing of the passing teenage horde with a haunted house-like whack of her cane against the railing, like she hoped we'd startle and bolt. Now, Paige, you can't explode before the funeral. This is Mr. Carver's day. I cut behind her, moving to walk beside Jason. Are you ready to defuse the ticking, Paige? The corded muscles in his neck seemed to say a solid no, but he managed a convincing smile. I don't think we have a choice. He nodded me sideways, and I stepped out of the flow of students, pressing my back to a tree to avoid being trampled, as Jason took too long to break free from the pack and had to double back 20 feet to reach me, giving me enough time to watch Caleb approach. Caleb flicked a glance my way, not making eye contact, but sweeping his gaze from my head to my toes like some Sybil diagnostic scan, seeming to judge me stable since he didn't slow his pace as he passed, leading a little cluster of students I recognized from his library table. Most of the table people weren't in our Algebra 2 class, but since the substitute teacher who'd been assigned to walk the traumatized students had drifted off to flirt with my chem teacher, Mr. Shit, walking groups no longer seemed to matter. Jason had noticed too. He held his hand in front of me, waiting for the decent-sized gap between the theater kids and the debate team to nod me back into the stream of students, diving right in with, I'd like to apologize, before we'd settled into the formation. You have nothing to apologize for. Yes, I do. The sweet worry in his eyes twisted my cynical Etherean heart. I'm really, really sorry for everything that happened Saturday. I projected... Jason, you don't have to... Please. I could see self-loathing winding through the worry in his eyes. Self-doubt, too, but no self-pity. Okay, but... I held up a finger. Just because you feel the need to apologize for something doesn't mean you actually did anything wrong. The barest hint of a smile softened his face as he shook his head. Accept my wisdom. Digging my nails into my palms as a defensive measure, I bumped my shoulder against his. I'll try. Jason swallowed, like he was making sure his calm tone would hold as he pressed on. I made a big deal out of nothing on Saturday. I messed up. You should have been having fun, and you were taking care of me instead. I'm sorry I projected my fears. I changed my mind again. I grabbed Jason's hand, risking mind-fuckery to pull him into the little niche between 2 front porches. I'm not going to listen to you apologize for worrying about me getting lost in the woods, especially at night in an unfamiliar place. Coming after me was really fucking nice of you, and the fact that you searched in the dark after what happened to you? He flinched the way I probably do when assholes ram my trauma in my face, but I couldn't feel bad for making my point. Makes you caring enough to rescue me mean even more. Please don't feel guilty for trying to help me. He shut his eyes, pressing his knuckles to the bridge of his nose. Why aren't you walking? A balding teacher I didn't know called our way as they passed. "Sorry." I stepped onto the sidewalk, trying to pull Jason with me, but he didn't even sway. So I tucked myself back into the porch-flanked niche beside him, watching bald teacher's shiny dome disappear into the sea of students. "You're giving me too much credit. The woods don't bother me, and the forests north of town don't either." Jason watched the horde of students rather than look at me. "I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you don't have to dodge the group hike. I'll be fine wherever you want to go. Because it was you being out there alone that freaked me out." He finally looked down at me. A faint sparkle of held-back tears rimmed the bottoms of his eyes. "I was backpacking with my dad when I was attacked. We'd hiked north of Diamond Peak to camp for a couple nights. He goes out that way a few times a year to check for signs of squatters and poachers. It can be fun when the weather's good. Then, one night, I woke up in the tent and my dad wasn't there. I thought..." He scrunched his eyes shut. A single tear rolled down each cheek. He swiped them away with the back of his hand. "I thought I heard my dad in the woods, telling me to come see something. I thought that was what had woken me up, and it didn't seem weird. He's made me get up to see spiders and tracks and literal bear crap, so I put on my boots and headed toward where I'd heard his voice." He shrugged, the movement not fitting the fear furrowing his brow. "When I realized I'd gone too far from camp to have heard Dad calling for me, I turned back. I cut around a cluster of trees, and then it was just pain. I could barely move, barely breathe. I didn't know what had happened. I hadn't even heard leaves rustle, and then I was screaming, lying face down in the dark with agony blazing across my back. A streak of phantom pain sliced down my back, mirroring the place I'd felt Jason's raised scar. I swallowed sour as the thick scent of blood and dirt filled my nose. Breathe, Ella. Focus on the moment, Ella. Stay with Jason, Ella. I couldn't stand. I couldn't even crawl. I had no way of getting back to camp, no way of defending myself. I was completely alone and helpless. He swiped his cheeks with the back of his hand one more time, then opened his eyes and met my gaze. That's the part I still can't get over. It made sense. In a human body, pairing that much pain and blood loss with sliced muscles would make fighting impossible. But a werewolf could manage it. Unless there was something else wrong with him. Unless a gash across the back was only one of many wounds that werewolf suffered before her terrible end. I threw my arms around Jason, telling caution to go fuck itself as I buried my face in his chest and pressed my hands to his back, holding him close, only letting the heels of my hands touch his scar, aiming for discretion as I checked its angle and length, imagining the same wound tearing through my own flesh. A blazing pain, upper back on one side, mid-back on the other. The sensation felt familiar. Not that felt meant shit, and unless I wanted to try for another round on the Experience Clara's Murder Express, no fucking thank you, any potential similarity between a human attacked by an animal and a werewolf murdered by a monster would have to stay limited to the fluttering of dread-lined excitement in my stomach. Unless... Don't fuck with him, Ella. I'm sorry you went through that. I squeezed him a little harder. And I'm so glad you survived. Me too. Is there a reason you're not walking? Mr. Vargas stopped beside Jason and me, giving a firm point down the path before we'd had a chance to... Mr. Vargas stopped beside Jason and me, giving a firm point down the path before we'd had a chance to answer. Have you forgotten why you're not in class right now? Not at all. I eased away from Jason and turned to Mr. Vargas. Sorry, it's just... I took a shaky breath. Going to Mr. Carver's funeral? After Jason and I tried to help when he collapsed in class? Cue dramatic voice fade. Mr. Vargas's face paled. Sorry, I'm going to pause right here. Did you enjoy my acting?
I did.
Do I get an award?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Okay. You don't have to be a Screen Actors Guild member, children. Sorry. I don't know. Okay. Jason, Mr. Vargas's face paled. Jason laid his hand on my shoulder. I glanced back in time to watch his impeccable, sorrowful shake of the head. I'm sorry you never got to know him, Ella. Yes, well, you can't... Mr. Vargas gave us a much less angry, flappy-handed little shoo to follow the flow of students. "Stay with the group." He speed-walked away, leaving Mr. Carver's tried-to-be rescuers to contemplate mortality on their own. I frowned up at Jason. "Do you think the lip wobble was too far?" "For Vargas? Nah." Most of the class groups had already passed by, leaving only one noisy blob of students and a few spread-out laggers with Mrs. Kowalski and Nurse Thompson as the sweepers at the very back. I led Jason into the largest gap, leaving enough room around us for discretion in the presence of human ears. "I'm sorry." Worry had taken over Jason's face again. "I was aiming for an honest explanation. You don't need me dumping my trauma on you." But I did. I fucking hated that I did. "I'm honored you trusted me with your trauma, and now I know we can be hiking buddies. You have no reason to be sorry. Sorry is my job. Or it will be." "Are you sure?" Jason asked. "Yes." "Absolutely." I aimed for a teasing grin. "I'll just curb my tendency to wander off alone." Jason dragged his hand down his face. "Don't worry, I'll issue everyone sat phones." "What?" I clapped my hand over my mouth to stop my giggle. Red crept into Jason's cheeks, but a hint of humor came with the blush. "I have a stock of them." "How do you have multiple satellite phones?" A full-on laugh bounced my words. "My dad gets to buy surplus equipment from the state sometimes, so I saved up and had him buy me 2. And then my mom found out and she made him buy 2 more, but then she found one at a good price online, so now I have 5? Jason winced, "and I think she might have another one on the way." "Wow." "It's her stress response. Dad had a sat phone with him when he found me. If he hadn't been able to call for help, there's no way I would have survived. He would have had a 7-hour hike back to cell service, and he'd have had to leave me behind. My dad's a strong guy, but there's no way he could have dragged my weight around the sheer spots on the northern slopes, even if it was the only way to save me." I took Jason's arm, reassuring myself that he was, in fact, alive. Not a ghost, corpse, or dream. Over vision defense. The soft fabric of Jason's black button-up let the heat of his skin reach my hand. "Alive. Alive. Jason Archer is just fine, Ella." Apparently, hoisting me into the rescue chopper was an impressive sight, but I was solidly unconscious by then, so... He shrugged. "Though I am pretty convinced my dramatic rescue helped scare the fucker that got me farther north, so basically I'm a hero." I laughed, and the side of my ribs brushed his arm. I hadn't realized how close we'd been walking. "Careful, Ella. Think, Ella." I pulled away just enough to put a few more inches between us. "Not that I'm debating your hero status, but..." "Huh?" "The wildlife expert's best guess for what attacked me was a really lost mountain lion. The whole best guess thing still feels pretty fucked up." "Yeah? But if it was a lost mountain lion and it had gotten into the campgrounds where there are little kids? Fuck. It could have been a lot worse than one guy getting medevaced. Medevaced?
Medevac.
Yeah, okay, great. I was like, for some reason, it's spelled so weird. Medevacked. What a weird word.
You know what the weird thing is? Every time I hear medevac or anything about that, all I see is the one doctor who died on ER because, well, first his arm got...
Spoilers, my God.
Well, no, first his arm got cut off by a helicopter, and then after he was like, couldn't do surgery anymore, then a different helicopter fell on him and killed him. So every time I hear medevac, all I can think is, well, it didn't work out very well for that guy.
Funny, because mine also goes with a hospital drama, which makes sense, right? But is The Good Doctor, when they've got that, is it the transplant heart that's being taken? And what's her name, who was like only in season 1, is on the roof with...
Does she get squished?
No, she doesn't get squished.
Then my story's better.
Oh my God.
Okay,
right.
Continue.
Okay, thank you. Jeez Louise. I'll back it up. The wildlife expert's best guess for what attacked me was a really lost mountain lion. The whole best guess thing still feels pretty fucked up. Yeah, but if it was a lost mountain lion and it had gotten into the campgrounds where there are little kids, fuck. It could have been a lot worse than one guy getting medevaced, damn it, whatever.
Do you want me to do the line for you?
It could have been a lot worse than one guy getting medevaced. Hence, I'm a hero.
Good job.
Thank you. We reached the turn onto Main Street, which cut between the Argo and the park. I let go of Jason's arm as we crossed the street, using the excuse to put a bit more space between us. Will that make you feel better, Ella? He's your friend, Ella. The teachers had given up on keeping the students on the sidewalk, letting them take over the middle of the street like a fucking parade. Jason, like a good sheriff's kid, headed right for the sidewalk. I stayed with him. No one ever saw the maybe mountain lion closer to town? Technically, no one ever saw it. Fuck. Is that all you know how to say, Ella? Yeah, Jason said. The unknown monster and the dark thing definitely added to the therapy bills. I understand. The monsters without faces are the worst. I never saw any of their faces, not even one. If I'd been able to see just one. This isn't about you, Ella. Think, Ella. You're a Sybil, Ella. Get your shit together, Ella. Don't you remember how this goes, Ella? Could I ask a potentially weird favor? I looked up at Jason. His eyebrows pinched together, but he nodded. I shoved my brewing guilt behind the comfort of a near truth. If I find the right map, could you show me where you were camping when it happened? His eyebrows smushed even closer together. Keep it simple. It's an awful landmark, but I have no mental reference points for the mountains around here. Town's easy, and I've looked at maps of Diamond Peak and Falls Lake, but beyond that, it's all vast wilderness I know nothing about. It seems like you're really familiar with the area, and having some idea where things are would make living here less overwhelming. His eyebrows relaxed out of their pinch as I wrinkled my nose. I've been going through all the library books on the landscape around Laureldale to try and get my bearings, but all it's done is make me mad that I don't know where the most beautiful pictures were taken. Touching, but did he think it through? Nurse Thompson said, now only 10 feet behind us. We picked up our pace, hurrying forward until we'd regained our lead on her and Mrs. Kowalski. Paige added a bunch of extra maps to my hiking safety stash. If she's right and we do all end up ditching school after the funeral, maybe we could go to the Argo. I'll grab a map and mark out a bunch of highlights for you. Jason kept his gaze front as he spoke. And maybe we could work on some planning. Between Sydney and Paige, I don't think we'll be allowed to help plan anything for the hike. Not for the hike. Jason took a breath. For the news. Well, not news. More like the idea Paige is so excited about. The park came into view up ahead. Rows upon rows of white folding chairs reached across the grass to a raised platform decorated in the white and gold of Laureldale High. Flowers surrounded the massive projected portrait of Mr. Carver above the thankfully closed fucking coffin containing the crushed teacher. Is this normal in Laureldale? I asked at the same time Jason said, we create an extra gallery space for the Widow's Run weekend. I froze just long enough to need a few jogged steps to catch up to Jason's pace, as he hadn't realized I'd fallen behind since he still had his gaze fixed dead front. I'm sorry, what? The Argo is overrun that whole weekend. Artists are always contacting my mom, trying to get pieces into the cafe's themed show, and those slots have all been booked for months. But the Argo also expands onto Main Street for the event, and we've never had any art stuff out there, so any gallery space we create can already be taken because it's never existed. Art stuff? Paintings, drawings, sculptures, whatever you want. I've talked it through with my mom, and as long as Paige and I handle the planning and you hang your work, the space is yours. Space is mine. Jason finally looked at me. Vulnerable, puppyish, fucking adorable doubt in his eyes. It was just a thought. If you're not interested, no, I am. I just don't have any work to show right now. That doesn't have to do with murder. Getting together enough pieces to fill a space? Jason, this is such a sweet offer, but there's no way I could do it in time. Even if we planned something super artsy, like a pure white wall with one little picture hung too high up for anyone to properly see? An adorable glimmer of sneaky pride outshone Jason's doubt. Or if you're really busy with the crossing mural, you could do a live painting Friday night and display that for the weekend. Or you could do a whole bunch of live sketches. Or, okay, I laughed. I'm glad you and Paige brainstormed, but did either of you consider that you don't actually know if I'm any good? Yes, we do. Paige sent me a picture of your finger painting of Violet as soon as you finished it. Your standards seem very low. They're not. We reached the corner between the Argo and the park. 2 sheriff's cars blocked traffic, reserving the streets around the funeral for pedestrians. I didn't need Jason's wave to realize Sheriff Archer himself stood beside the newer of the cars. The blonde hair, chiseled jawline, and wall-like build gave him away as Jason's dad. Sheriff Archer smiled as he returned his son's wave. From this distance, it looked like he had kind eyes, the sort that made it hard to believe he wouldn't bother looking for a missing girl. It's not the time. Focus. Breathe. Breathe. Fill in the back rows they're already holding for us. Mrs. Parker waved the last of the students forward like we were planes on a tarmac. Pick it up. Second question. I jogged toward Mrs. Parker while Jason with his long-ass legs just had to walk without matching my shorter stride. Are you only doing this because Violet got me the commission from her mom? Was that the inspiration? Yes. The reason? No. I want to help you, and I think people should see your art, and it could give you an excuse to hang out at the Argo more often. I couldn't convince myself his voice hadn't tightened at the end. Move all the way down, Mr. Vargas directed us into the second to last row of white chairs. Jason stepped behind me as we joined the line of students sidling to their seats, placing himself like he was guarding my back. He's a good guy. He was attacked. He's innocent. Fuck. If you don't think it's a good idea, or even if you just don't want to show your work at the Argo, it's okay, he said. It's not okay. It's not okay. Or if you want to do the show, it can just be you and Paige. That's fine, too. One little lie, that's all it will take. The lie fit too well. Actually, there's a drawing I'm working on that would be perfect for the show, and I think you can help me finish it. Jason Archer fucking beamed. Yeah, talking about a stinger. You're an
Scorpion.
asshole. The Scorpion.
Bam.
Oh my God. Oh, what a callback. Nice, babe.
I've been holding on to that this whole time, which as someone with a brain injury.
No shit. That's impressive. Good job.
I worked so hard for that.
I am so proud of you. All right. So what do you think about the chapter?
I am very happy with the plot development.
Yeah, me too.
I
told you I love this chapter. This is great.
I realize the possibility of walking a full high school worth of students that far. But as someone who has taught youths, the actuality, like, I think throughout the chapter, the thing for me was that I most sympathized with the teachers being like, what the fuck? Like, just, can you please fucking, what? Like, no one's, it's all just, it's cats. Who knows how many we have?
Why are there 2 students on their own between houses in a niche? Get the hell out of there. Let's go.
Like, and that's the thing, is like the whole time I was writing, I was like, these poor teachers. And then like poor Nurse Thompson at the end just being like, who's going to fall? Who's going to pass out? Well, this is a fucking bad idea. Let's walk all these kids.
Oh my God, that's what she was talking about. Because this is Principal Harrison's idea, right?
Yeah, that he wants all of the students to attend the funeral in person. And there's no way with downtown traffic, there's no way they can bus them all there. And it's a nice short walk. So just walk the kids.
Because those are probably like Ireland-sized streets, right?
It's
tiny.
Well, yeah, Main Street's fine.
Yeah, sure, but all the side streets.
And Fleece Street's fine, but if those are blocked out,
Fleece Street.
then they have to walk. And he's like, oh, it's not that far. The kids can walk. The kids can walk. And the school nurse is like, this is fucking stupid.
Sure.
First of all, how many kids did we already lose? How many pregnancy tests do I need within the next 3 weeks? Who's having an asthma attack and who's passed out because they didn't eat breakfast? Like that's where my sympathy was at this whole chapter.
When did it happen? When did we cross the threshold from more identifying with the foibles of youth to the poor teachers being like, God?
Honestly, it happened for me very young. It was the first time we were house parents for an
Oh
overnight
my
camp.
God. Oh my God.
In
yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Sure. Oh.
With those, I love my students, but with those fucking disaster kids. Like, I love them, and they're all so talented. But the first time I had 40 children on my hand and was expected to keep them alive for 5 consecutive nights, I feel like that's when I gave up on any sympathy for youths instead of teachers. Because, like, no, that's too many fucking kids. Fuck that noise. I'm an author.
Do you remember, I think her name was Michaela, but there was this, she was our Adelaide in Guys and Dolls. And I was like, I think that she was one of those that were like, she's going to grow up to be a doctor. What a waste. And now I look back at that and go, what the hell was wrong with you, young Christopher? That's a much better place for somebody to be than as a performer. Don't get me wrong. I love performing. I love it so much. I have some really exciting things on that end that I get to talk about relatively soon-ish. So,
well, no, it's not just you. My
like,
dance teacher said it too when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Is that a girl would walk into ballet and have like the perfect fit. And she's like, oh, you're going to have such a fun career as a dentist.
Right. Because it's always the ones that you're just so naturally gifted that they come in and they blow your mind. And then you even talk to them. We're like, I don't know what I really want to do. And I'm talking like sophomores and juniors too, which at that point you should probably know if you want to go pursue music theater.
He's talking high school.
Yeah, yes. But you should probably know that you want to do music theater because it's a long freaking road from there. But yeah, and they'll just be like, nah, I think I probably want to do marine biology. And I'm like, God. Like, man, all right. I mean, it's great, very worthy causes, but it does make you a little sad.
The like, number of excellent belting nurses in this world.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's the thing. More hospitals need to have like choirs or something like Nurses Got Talent shows because
dude, real estate agents,
I know,
get them out to karaoke.
Like nurses and real estate agents. I know so many who I'm like Broadway level voice.
Oh my God, yeah. But they're just like, I don't want to live that life, thank you. And it's like, I don't blame you.
But can you imagine if you had like a beltress and you were like, I'm scared of a needle, and they started like belting The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. Okay, not that. No one wants to hear that. But like, I'm not throwing away my shot. And they like did it perfectly as they gave you an injection. How comforting that could be.
Oh my God.
You want to give me my shot tomorrow so you can rap at me for a video?
No, I do not want to give you your shot tomorrow. Thank you. You can.
We have gotten so far off.
Yeah,
topic.
I was like, I don't know where we are anymore. Okay, so I want to.
Should we pause and go back?
No.
Okay.
We're fine. I want to touch on a few. No, this is why the people are here. They are here to hear us talk about nonsense and books.
I don't think that's actually
true. It's 100% true. I ran a poll. That part is untrue. So, will you please talk about what inspired this line? Is that a lack of fear of serial killers, or are you too used to early morning sounds from the Argo? Because before I started reading this chapter today, she went, yeah, that might have been inspired by something that happened earlier. So go ahead.
No. So our cats are assholes, and I love them. But quite often, I'll be napping. I'm home alone. We live in a very safe area, but you know, you're a female, you're home alone. So it's always like, is someone coming to murder me? Who's to say? And so a lot of times I'll be napping and I'll hear horrific noises in my home. And I'll just be like, well, I assume it's the cats and not someone coming to murder me. And if they're coming to murder me in my sleep, too damn bad because I'm not getting up. So I do have that thought on a regular basis of like, serial killer, who's to say?
It's funny, I've even had that thought a couple of times.
I feel like that's just life with cats, though,
is.
Where it's like...
Let us know. If you have cats, let us know if that's true.
Here's the thing. Like, while the Argo is not based on the inn I grew up on, like, they're two very different things.
Yeah.
Also, Jason being able to sleep through, like, smashing dishes,
that
delivery
was totally
trucks.
You, yeah.
Totally. I can
fair.
sleep through anything. Test me.
So I next wrote, and you asked me what when I was writing something down about this. It's like, I'll tell you on the podcast. The line, hiking with a few friends, if my current post-mindfuck healing trajectory held and the slow grinding shut of the gate in my head continued to pace, with the right precautions and no physical contact, a small group gathering in a calm environment might be possible in a few more days. The amount of thought that she has to go through to be like, can I fucking hang out with these guys? It's just like, wow, my God.
The amount of thought I had to go through to make sure that whole sentence made sense.
It's a great sentence.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I worked very hard. And I got to use the word apace, which, I don't usually get to do.
I looked at that and I almost noted it because I was like,
but it fits. And I never get to use the word apace.
Use the word apace. I don't know that I've ever used the word apace, and I'm a douchebag.
You are a douche.
So, like, I sent a...
You are a shower of roses. Okay, continue.
Okay, my God. Oh, we already talked about that one. Okay. The whole why is Violet laughing? Why is Violet laughing? Oh, when Paige says, you two screwed out of the pack to discuss details, and we can celebrate when we inevitably ditch school after the funeral, because what the hell is the point in studying when a tree can smash through the window and kill you at any moment? I have had this feeling so much lately. So many times. I'm just like, what the fuck is the point in being responsible right now? What is the point? Somebody tell me. There is a giant meteor coming toward us in 2032, and its chances keep going higher, but that's not even the problem.
The thing is, that's all the way in 2032.
That is, but you know that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but the thing is, even when things are dark and hopeless.
When you feel sad.
No. Oh. I'm not going for that.
Okay.
If you are not actively working, okay. If you aren't working to fight something that's going wrong.
Yeah.
So let's say you were stepping out of your normal sphere of life to try and stop something bad that's happening.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But if you get hopeless and just say, never mind, I'm not going to do it anymore, then the people who are trying to fuck shit up, aka the comet, wins.
Right.
Because if you stop living before the comet ever hits, the comet's won.
Right.
So if you give up and say, I'm not doing my life anymore, then the metaphorical comet also wins because you've given up. Now, if you're like, I can't do this anymore, I have to go learn aerospace dynamic procedures to save us from a comet.
The orange comet.
Yes, then like that totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, you kind of have to keep plugging forward, because if not, then you're already losing what you're trying to fight to save.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's deep, man. That's deep. I love you. I love being married to you.
I love really my cat shirt.
Yeah, I love your cat shirt too. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, I skipped over something which we'll hit if we've got time, but this one I guffawed. So no one ever saw the maybe mountain lion closer to town? Technically, no one ever saw it. Fuck. Is that all you know how to say, Ella? And I left the comment, what every parent finding their child reading this is asking.
Okay. So here's the thing. I changed it to that to be funny.
Yes, which is
I
very
rarely
funny.
try to be funny. But originally when I wrote it, because she says wow a couple times because things are really weird. So she's like, wow. And so I had it as a third wow.
Yeah.
And then it was like, is that all you know how to say, Ella? And I was like, no, that's fucking wrong. We all know that fuck is the only thing she knows how to say. Just be blatant, say the thing. And so I did. And I'm glad you appreciated it.
I did.
But I did do that for comedy.
There was a New York Times article, this is apropos, that came out today that was like cursing and how you can stop if you want to. And I was like, thank you for adding that if you want to, because I have no intention. Okay. The next thing, I shoved first of all, I did not fully appreciate the beauty of this line. And this isn't what I highlighted, but I shoved my brewing guilt behind the comfort of a near truth. That's gorgeous prose. And then if I find the right map, could you show me where you were camping when it happened? Talking about the lion, quote unquote, slashing. And I wrote, oh, smart. Oh, that's really smart. Sure. Because wait, this happened to you. Where did this happen? This might help me find those cliffs. Very smart. That's all. I just wanted to say that.
Wow, it's like I did it for a reason.
All right, look. That's fine.
Okay,
I don't need to give you
if you
compliments.
can drive standard with YouTube videos, then I can be snarky tonight.
Because driving standard is totally as hard as writing a book. Maybe for you.
To me?
To you. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, driving standard is not hard. Driving stick is actually very fun. I would love to have a stick shift car. They are supremely fun to drive. Like, I'm not kidding. They are so fun to drive because it gives you more to do. It gives you more to do when you're driving. It feels like more like a video game. Like you're more in control. And it's fun. Instead of something taking the wheel for you. The flowers surrounded the massive projected portrait of Mr. Carver above the thankfully closed fucking coffin containing the crushed teacher.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I wrote LOL, so real.
I mean, you wouldn't want to see that.
No,
I mean, okay. Technically, he could have gotten like one singular branch through the chest that would be easy to cover. I don't know, whatever like thing they put, like plugs, so that the clothes, when they put you in an open casket, don't sag into your wounds.
What are they gonna do? Fill you with helium?
No, I think it's like wax or something. But they like if you're missing bits, they like fill it in so your clothes sit nice. So if he had like one branch that just so happened to like impale him, but in my head it was a pretty good mashing. So like open casket,
pretty good. That's a pretty good mashing.
It was pretty definitive. So there's not an open casket option available.
Okay, so I have two things left. I loved this. Because I was at first, I was like, why is she digging her nails into her? Oh, digging my nails into my palms as a defensive measure. I bumped my shoulder against him. It's like, oh, so she's using that to stay present so that she doesn't fall into a vision, so that she can give him a little comedic comfort, right?
Well, because she's trying to be like, hey, it's okay. Right. And so while she doesn't actually want to touch him, like giving him that thump.
Yeah.
Feels necessary, so she's trying to like balance the two.
He'd like to give her a whole other kind of thump. Okay, so moving on. Look, tell me I'm wrong. Teenage
thumping.
Boys. Thumping, sure. I don't know. Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm not expecting you to answer this, but my very last thing for right now is actually there's a drawing I'm working on that would be perfect for the show, and I think you can help me finish. What the actual fuck is she doing? What is she doing?
Exactly what a Sybil should do.
Oh. Man, she's using people. I don't like it. I don't like it. Do you have anything to say for yourself? No? Okay. All right. So that is all I have. Was there anything else that you wanted to add? You wanted to talk about?
About the chapter?
Well, chapter, life, you know.
So actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about the... So we are getting to... I laid it out.
Okay.
And assuming... that I keep to my schedule, which I'm really good at.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, y'all, thank you for your patience in waiting for the art to show up for these chapters. It's tough. It's been tough figuring out the timing for all of this. And especially because since she is writing it in real time, figuring out the perfect image to go with the chapter has to come first, and then it has to go to the artist, and it's like it's a lot, you know. So,
but the thing is, they'll all be.
But they all show up, and if you have missed any of them where it says image coming soon, they are all up. So please go back and check.
And the purpose is really to have them for
the Kickstarter, right? Yeah, of course.
But that's one of the things that I'm starting to look at, because if I stick to my plan, which I'm
look, as your mother so wisely says, you have to have a plan so that you can change the plan, and you will always change the plan.
Well, if the plan actually worked, there would be 9 chapters left. So we're getting really close to the end, which means that we actually have to start figuring out the Kickstarter and the Kickstarter images.
Yes.
And so I hadn't really thought through the process of like building the different like tiers for the Kickstarter and the art for the Kickstarter.
Have
and
you decided
like all
if you're gonna
those things.
Are you going to try for an audiobook for the Kickstarter, or are we still figuring it out?
I don't know. That's a really big goal.
It's also kind of a commitment to hire a narrator before the series is complete, right?
That's another thing where I'm like, maybe I want to wait.
Because they might leave the business. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Working to figure out which pieces of art. So what I'm really looking at right now with the Kickstarter is, because I'm starting to spread the word about it. It's not ready yet. It's still just like this, enter your email here and we'll give you updates about it. Like, it's not a full-blown campaign yet. Right. But figuring out which bits of art I want to feature. And it hadn't occurred to me that in keeping with this, a piece of art a week we're chapter 27?
No, we're chapter 28.
So that means once we have this piece of art commissioned, that'll be 28 pieces of commissioned art. So if I'm looking at what to feature, trying to decide which of those sketches I want to put on the Kickstarter page, and like, oh, I'm making stickers for this. Oh, I'm like doing all these different things. The last one absolutely has to get featured. The one for chapter 27 was gorgeous. I mean, most of them are beautiful, but that one is just striking. Well, some of them are just funny, like the little ram. But
I love the ram.
But I'm having to. It's inadvertently making me think of the art in a whole new way, because now I'm like, wait a second, it's not just for the chapter, they've almost started competing with each other in my head for like who's going to get best advertisement placement for the sketches, which is really weird to me. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. But as we build the Kickstarter page, we're going to have to choose which art pieces we like best. And that's where my brain is stuck now.
Hey,
It's like,
well, luckily you are married to a sort of graphic designer. A little bit, kind of.
But that's the thing that is in my brain right now.
Yeah.
In the process that's stuck is that suddenly we're 9 weeks away, theoretically, from launching this Kickstarter, and
You're launching it on the last episode day.
I want to launch it like a week before.
Okay.
Or like a little bit before, just so that we have some time to settle.
Sure.
But then I have to like create these pages, and I have to actually choose my favorites out of the art pieces.
So theoretically, this will launch at the end of April.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay.
But that's what I'm stuck on right now, is choosing which pieces of art I want to feature, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's fair. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that insight.
Yeah. The panic. Well, because there's that one really, really cool one with the wings.
Oh, the Fey wings. Yeah.
But I like the monster with the claws.
Does Caleb have wings?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it because he's half Fey?
No.
Or do Fey not
Dryad don't have wings.
Oh, I see. So his subspecies of Fey do not have wings.
Yeah. Why would you? You're in a forest. What are you going to do? Hit the branches? Like, where are you going, bud? But so I have like that one's definitely one of my favorites, and like I love the Welcome to Laurel sign, but like I love the ram image.
I love the ram
because it's adorable.
So oh my god, can we commission little stuffed rams to be made?
I don't know, but that's the thing, is that now I'm facing these options and I'm having problems. So if you've only ever listened to
Brittany,
the podcast,
do you want a stuffed ram?
Well, I think that might need to wait for like later in the series, because I feel like we're gonna learn more about the stuffed ram.
Okay. Oh, wait, what?
Well, because
the stuffed ram is coming back?
Well, not that stuffed ram, but like the Laurel Rams.
Okay.
Like Jason is an athlete, and we have yet to touch on this.
You mean that it's not an allusion to Jason and the Argonauts and the Golden Fleece?
No, it's actually the school mascot.
I'm aware of this, but
anyway, so if you haven't seen any of the images, you can see them on Substack.
Yes.
I share them on my social media. I'm gonna try and put together like a slideshow of them or something so that people can see more of them.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm gonna share all of them. So if there's some that you're like, absolutely, this is the best one. This needs to be highlighted.
Yeah, sure.
This needs a sticker. This needs a whatever it is. Look through the images and let me know, because right now I'm just staring at 28 images and going,
What was that?
Ah.
All right, thank you.
All right, is that all we have for tonight?
I think that's it. So why don't you tell them where they can find us?
You can find us on Substack. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook for social media, and on whatever podcast platform you prefer.
I love that you still call it Twitter. No, I like legit love that you still call it Twitter. That's all.
The platform formerly known as Twitter. But you can find us everywhere, and please do like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever it is on your preferred podcast platform, so that you will continue to get episodes from us, and that's so other people can find the Page by Page podcast.
And please share it with friends. Bring them in on the fun. I mean, we've got, counting the in-between episodes, what do we have now? 31 episops or
Who's
something?
to say?
Yeah, something like that. So please invite people. Tell them about our crazy antics. Until next time, and as always, thank you for reading.